Okay, so we are going to read about Jerome and the surprise package. Chapter 14, Jerome and the surprise package, real friends. We're going to find out if James a real friend and if he's somebody that Jerome needs to stay away from. Most of the day, Jerome's big reds stood outside Big Buy ready and waiting. James had to continue to borrow Big Red. James had continued to borrow Big Red. In fact, since Jerome had gotten the spiffy leather saddlebag, James used the bike even more than before. James did not tell Jerome when he was going to use it. He acted as if it wasn't any of Jerome's business. Jerome felt angry at James. He was beginning to think that James was not a good friend. What do you think? James is just taking his bike without asking, and he's using it all the time. So James is getting angry. Jerome was showing Shayna the new saddlebag when he found the little package at the bottom of the saddlebag. It was wrapped in plain white paper and tied with green cord. It was a small package that looked like a gift. It had not been there this morning when he took his lunch out of the saddlebag. Hey, Shayna, look what I found. James must have put it in here. I guess I was wrong about James. Shayna looked on without saying a word. So James is sitting here thinking that, Jerome is sitting here thinking that James left him a gift, but wait till you see this. Gee, I wonder what it could be. Maybe James wanted to surprise me with a thank you gift, Jerome said excitedly. Shayna had a strange look on her face and replied, well, perhaps so. Why not open it? Jerome pulled the green cord off and tore the white paper away from the package. Shayna, it looks like tobacco in a small plastic bag. This is a weird gift. James knows I don't smoke. So now, look, James has been using Jerome's bike and now he's got some suspicious substance, whether it's tobacco or maybe some other type of drug that he had left in James saddle or in Jerome's saddlebag on his bike. Shayna's tone of voice told Jerome that she was angry. Jerome, I think we'd better show this to your manager, Mr. Daniels. As Shayna turned to go to Mr. Daniels' office, she said, you and I will have a talk about this talk a little about this package, real friends and people who pretend to be friends. Then I would like you to come with me to get a new lock for your bike. Jerome felt confused. What made Shayna so angry? Was it the gift or was Shayna angry with him? Would Mr. Daniels be angry too? He did want to talk to Shayna about friends at work, especially James, but why, he wondered, did Shayna think he should get a new lock today? Why do you think he should get a new lock today? It looks like there's some suspicious substance and James keeps taking Jerome's bike and he needs to have that stop now. James cannot take his bike anymore. So we're going to answer some questions. Before we answer questions over the quiz, I want to tell you that what had happened in this story is that James kept using Jerome's bike and he ended up using it. So that was not tobacco that Jerome found in his bike. That was actually marijuana. And so James had been using Jerome's bike, taking it whenever he pleased to transport the drugs that Jerome found. So James had been transporting drugs on James' bike. So now we're going to answer questions. And that's why Shayna thought it was very important for Jerome to take this to the manager, because that means that perhaps if James is using the bike to go transport these drugs, maybe he's also using drugs. And you have to know that maybe a policy at your job would be that you have to be drug free and that you may take drug tests. So it is very important that if you ever find a substance like this, that at work and you suspect like maybe perhaps it was one of your friends, like if it's not yours and it's on your possession, somebody could then eventually accuse you of doing this. So this is a really tricky situation that Jerome is in because one, he was not standing up for himself and telling James not to use his bike. Two, because of that, now he's got himself in a situation where he finds a suspicious substance that's most likely marijuana. Jerome thought it was tobacco, but it's most likely marijuana that James has had, but we don't know. So that's why Shayna, his job coach, is saying that he needs to go to his boss, his manager, and let him know what he found. And plus, it's on the work campus. So um, that's why we need to practice using refusal skills and be assertive when with our personal possessions or things that we feel uncomfortable with. Jerome had been feeling uncomfortable letting James use his bike, but he didn't say anything. He just let him do it. And that's again why Shayna's like, we need a new lock on his bike so James can't just take it anymore. All right, question 1. Jerome found a gift wrap package in his saddlebag. His face showed that he felt what? What did Jerome feel? Pleased, puzzled, or angry? Question 2. How did Jerome feel about James always using his bike? Happy, angry, or sad? Question 3. What did James find in the saddlebag? Shoes, money, a small package. Question 4. What might have happened if Shayna had not been with Jerome when he found the surprise package? Jerome may have thought that James was a good friend. Jerome could have gotten in trouble and continued to get hurt by James. Jerome could have gotten a raise. Question 5. What do you think was in the package? Do you think it was meant as a gift for Jerome? Do you think it was marijuana? It was not meant for Jerome. James was probably using Jerome's bike to transport drugs. Or do you think it was tobacco? It was a gift from James because he wanted to thank him for using his bike. What do you think? So make sure you submit the quiz. Let me know if you have any questions. And, this might be a good, if you don't normally talk to your parents about this kind of stuff, maybe this is a good time to talk to them about what they should have you do in those types of situations. All right, please let me know if you have any questions and I'll see you on the next assignment.